Greetings. So, it's another Wednesday night in the big city. What's up? Hey, I'm Ren. How you doing? Live long and prosper. Something like that. Yeah. Been an interesting day at the shop today. I had to run errands and been working on molds all day. Yay! And it's finally starting to get warm. Yay! I'm so tired of the cold. I guess, can you hear me okay? Everything all right with sound for the most part? Oh, we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to show up that wants to show up tonight. See what the world all has going on. I was going to try to paint some tonight. I just was not in the mood. Just been concentrating too hard on molds all day. I just didn't feel like concentrating on painting. And I got so much crap I need to paint too. So I hope everybody's having a good week so far. La 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 la. Oh, wonder where Miss Dana Murphy is tonight. Make sure Dana Murphy's out there. Do. Let's see here. I don't know where Dana's hiding out tonight. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Or are you guys just being that quiet tonight? Yep, okay. I didn't see anything. I got scared. Was I not broadcasting? Or was it lagging? Oh, it cut out for a minute. Okay. Well, shucky darn. No wonder it was so quiet. I just got here, but it seems fine. Okay. Well, like I said, now we're seeing stuff, so that's good. Oh, there's Dana Murphy. There she showed up. It's like, where's Dana at tonight? All right. So let's see. What am I going to talk about tonight? Well, I mentioned earlier, I spent the day making molds. I'm in the process of building a couple of new cases for our on-the-road show booth thingy. So I had to run over and get the parts for that today. And get those done over the next couple of days. These are more for storage. Because we're running out of room. Got too much stuff. So. Let's see here. Well, hopefully I haven't timed out again. You guys are so quiet. You're making me paranoid. I'm sorry, I'm walking around the house. Hello, Tiger. How are you doing? We are going to be up in Kansas City, Missouri for a show called Border Wars. It's a smaller show. They've invited us several times over the last few years. So it's worked out this year that we can go, so we're going to run up there. It's not a great big show, but sometimes the small ones are the funnest ones. And then 2 weeks after that, we have the big show, Origins, out in Columbus. Well, Tiger, I'm sorry that you feel like crap. We'll all feel like crap tonight, too, just for you. Everybody feel like crap, so Tiger feels not left out. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I think that's the last show that we have out east, since we're not doing NashCon. Yeah, no, I think that's the farthest east one that's left. Well, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Especially family, when you got family, you got to kind of do the family thing. Well, as I've always said, Tiger, if you're doing a show that your vendor spots fill up before you even have a chance to advertise for the next year's show, it's time to do more vendor spots. Especially because we are supposed to be on a list to be able to come back. But that's neither here nor there now. Well, like I said, it's time to grow. They need to do a better job of planning ahead. That's all I got to say. All right, so, but speaking of conventions, so in July, let's see here. So in July, we are going to be doing a virtual convention again, a virtual CAVCon. So that's going to be in July of 22. And it's going to be probably a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show again. So the first weekend's not obviously going to work because that's 4th of July weekend. Everybody will be blown out for 8th, 9th, and 10th. So maybe either the 15th through the 17th. We have 23 through, no, let's see, 22 through 24, and possibly the 29th through the 31st. Okay. So one of those 3 weekends, and we'll have this, hopefully we'll have this tightened down here by the end of the week. So anyway, either the 15th through the 17th, the 22nd through the 24th, or the 29th through the 31st is going to be our 22 virtual convention. Now, we're going to be doing live events down at ReaperCon in September, but this is going to be orientated around CAV, this virtual show. We are going to be doing it out of the studio down at Reaper. So we will have more room, we will have more people there. So what are some ideas for events that you would like to see at a virtual show? If you've been to other virtual shows, what have you seen them do? Obviously, we're going to have some games. We're going to try to do more of that. We're going to have some paint demos, paint-alongs or whatever. Maybe some terrain, building, I don't know. If you were here last year, who did a really good job? Who did you like to watch? Because we had 4 different people, 5 counting Todd. I don't know what Todd's going to be able to do this year because I don't know if he's planning on waiting to come down to the live show in September, or he's got a new daughter. So he may be out of the. I know he's been kind of hard to talk to lately. New kids will do that. But we had Chris, Thunder Chris. So he did his show, Paint Along. We had Party Bear, which I thought Party Bear did a really good job. And then we had Well Forged and, of course, James Wapple. So I'm sure we probably could get any of those folks back if that's somebody that you would like to see. Now, I know, and I'll check with him, I'm pretty sure that our painter Ross will be at the show, so he will be able to do some stuff. And be participating in games as well, and talk-alongs. The special convention miniature. I don't know if we're going to do a CAV and a vehicle, both. I know we're going to do a CAV. And it's going to be an all-new model called the Kraken. That way we can have convention t-shirts that say, release the Kraken. Kraken. Kraken, is it Kraken or Kraken? I think it's Kraken. Release the Kraken. Yeah, no, I've heard it. I've heard it say. I've heard Kraken as well, but I mean it's spelled Kraken. I guess it could be Kraken, the Kraken. I guess it just depends on where you want the last K. If it goes on to the first, it's crack. If it goes on to the end, it's kin. Kraken. Let's see what the internet says. Internet survey says. Let's see. Pronounced. Let's see. How do you pronounce it? Let's see. How about we put in pronounce?
Kraken. Kraken.
All right. Well, according to Google, it's Kraken. No, let's see.
Kraken.
Yeah,
Kraken.
Kraken. It says Kraken. All right. So we're gonna release the Kraken. That'll make for a cool shirt. Here, getting closer, I'll unleash the design. It's going to be an open model, so that any faction can use it. I don't know what faction it's going to be attached to yet. Technically, that should probably be an A to E's, since it's a mythology type name. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. It's just I know that I'm just trying to think of things that we can be a little more interactive with folks. I do plan on having some stuff for the RPG to at least kind of go over. So that should be kind of exciting. I would imagine that probably Friday we'll kind of concentrate on painting. And then Saturday during the day will be more games. Saturday night will be more painting stuff. And then Sunday will probably be more talk-alongs and things like that. Q&As, whatnot. I hate when I get the yawns. You could do wager matches. So if one person wins, the other has to gift 5 subs to the channel. I don't know. I don't know how that would go over with this crowd. Oh, fair bit of gambling never hurt anyone. That is true. A little bit of gambling is, I think, good for you. Keeps the blood flowing. All right. So one of the things I wanted to go over tonight was I am pounding away on the rules update. I'm still pushing to have it done here by the end of the month. One of the things though that's come up that I hadn't really talked about is some changes that are coming to infantry. So, we've talked, whether you've been here when I've done it or not, but, close combat, close assault is going away as an overall deal. There's various reasons that we've discussed, but some of the reasoning that comes up with the close combat kind of carries over to infantry. Is we have a lot of infantry-based rules, essays, some things that go in there that, for the most part, don't really show up in the game. We've got quite a bit of time and effort tied up into infantry when they're not all used that regularly. So there's also comes up with some issues with the way infantry is handled. Technically infantry, and actually let's go into something else first. So one of the things that will be happening, and that I haven't really gone over yet, is to correct the DTs, the damage tracks on the cards, so that they equal the actual damage tracks of the model. What that means is, and I'm not going to go into the reasons why it ended up happening, but it did happen. So an 8 DT model, let's just say a 9 dictator, the Dictator B, a 9 DT model. So theoretically, by the way the rules basically describe it, he should be able to take 8 points or 9 points of damage. And on the 9th point of damage, he should be knocked out. Okay? But by the way that they're presented on the data cards, they actually take 10 points. Because the object is you have to go to the column to the right, and when you run out of columns, then he's considered destroyed. So you have 9 DT models that take 10 points. Let me check this just in case somebody's telling me that I sound crappy or something. Nope. Okay. So we've played that way. That's the way it ended up being presented. That's the way it ended up on the cards, but that's not right. So because of close combat going away and a new stat called experience that's coming in, an old stat, it just didn't get used in the new game, and we're bringing it back. I've got to update all the cards anyway. So as a result of that, we're going to go ahead and fix it so that the damage tracks are correct, so that it should take 9 points of damage and the model's taken out. So just FYI, that's coming down the pipe. So that goes back to, that ties into the conversation about infantry. So infantry right now, model, takes 4 points to take out. It's only supposed to be 3, but it ends up taking 4. So if you have, let's just say a regular Mount Vernon light infantry squad, they require 10 models to go into a squad. So basically it takes 40 DT to take out a Mount Vernon infantry squad. So not really, that's basically four Dictator Bs damage-wise. They can't do that much damage, but they can take that much damage. So that's really not, I think, conducive to the game. So what we're going to end up doing is we're making some changes to the squads setup as well. So infantry squads will no longer be considered a primary or secondary squad. You're going to have basically primary squads, secondary squads, and infantry squads. There is no how many infantry squads that you can take. You know, you don't have to buy this to do infantry or whatever. The rule of thumb that's, of course, infantry will never be in a tournament game, at least tournaments that we're running. But there is the caveat in there that when you are playing someone, you both sides should agree upon the level of infantry they want to participate. You don't want to play a game where a guy shows up with 100 stands of infantry. You're going to be moving forever, and it's just no fun. And theoretically you can do that now in the game if you wanted to, because primary squads are infantry and mechanized infantry. So you could buy as many as threat value would allow you to have, but luckily, I don't think that that's been a problem that anybody's taken care of. So with that in mind, infantry squads are going to go to 1 point models. So basically, if you do 1 point of damage, successful point of damage to infantry, that will destroy that particular model. Not the squad. The squad is still deal. And basically, a squad of infantry, let's go back to the Malvernus example. The number of models that are in the squad are the number of DTs that it can take. So if you have 10 models worth of Malvernon infantry in a squad, an infantry squad, it basically has 10 DTs worth of damage that it can take. And you still will target each model individually, so if you shoot it and do 1 point of damage, then that takes it away. But because of the nature of infantry, their stats will not decrease. So, you know, a guy's a guy, you know, you kill some of them and there's still some out there, they tend to scurry around. So what that does is that takes away infantry cards. You won't have to have a card for infantry anymore. You won't have to put D12s out there to track infantry. You'll just be able to take the model away if it's killed, and you'll just have a stat line for infantry. So I think that will increase the speed of using them. It fixes a couple of things that I think that will be fixed. Obviously, CAV is a combined arms game. We want it to remain a combined arms game, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to play CAVs and vehicles for the most part. So, no. Every model still has 2 actions, and they will still be able to make their attacks. Right now, if you go pull up an infantry card, okay, you'll notice that their move and their armor doesn't degrade like a CAV. It stays 3 and 1, I think is what light infantry is or whatever. The only thing that does degrade is the RAV values for their weaponry, because there's less guys. But because of their low DT, it only drops off by 1. So it really doesn't make sense to have all these cards and all this extra effort for 1 point of drop off. So there's just no reason to do it like that. And they're such low numbers anyway, it's just easier to just say they keep that number as long as there's a squad going. A model going. There's X number of models to make a squad. Now, some other things that'll kick in is infantry squads do not add CP to your force group. So you can't come in and buy 10 infantry squads to get an extra 10 CP points. Okay? Now, infantry will still be, a squad will still have its own card. You'll put an extra card in there for each squad. But that goes back to players need to decide how much infantry they want to allow in a game for each side. Again, you know, if you take all your CP points or your TV points, buy all CAV force, and he takes his TV points and buys 4/5 CAV force and 1/5 infantry squads, but it gives them an extra 10 cards. That right there is very unbalancing to the system of initiative. And there's no good trade-off, because one of the options that we considered was just all infantry moves on one card. Well, that works all great unless, again, you've got one card full of with four mortar squads all shooting mortar rounds at one CAV. It doesn't get spread out through the turn like it should be, and that would be unfair to the CAVs. So we're still tweaking that, but I really, like I said, it goes back to I think players are going to have to kind of self-govern themselves with infantry. It won't be a tournament issue because infantry will not come up in a tournament, but you want to make sure the guy you play with doesn't try to screw you. Correct. Yeah. I mean, but that's the way it is now. I mean, if you've got each squad still can make their attack. It's just as infantry die, you won't have as many models to attack with. But like I said, a lot of the things that we're talking about that are things that they already can do. I mean, if you really pay attention to the infantry rules, a lot of this stuff you could already have done. But now instead of an infantry squad taking 30 or 40 points to take out, they'll just be able to be taken out with the number of bases that are in the squad. You still will target one squad, and if you do a point of damage, it's destroyed. If you do 3 points of damage, you don't destroy 3 models. And as we get the verbiage, the terminology straightened out a little bit, I think it'll make better sense. So again, we're just kind of simplifying something that really doesn't get used a whole lot anyway. So that gets rid of 1 or 2 SAs. It's going to make the force design rules a little better, I think, because you could theoretically, in the current system, not theoretically, you can. You can go in and buy a primary infantry squad and pay 100 points, whatever one costs, and then use that to buy a secondary squad and come back with an extra squad worth of fire support, if that's what you wanted to do. And that's not really the intention of what we wanted to happen. So that moves them off into kind of their own network. Now, one of the things that we did consider too was putting in some kind of rule as far as you can only have as many infantry squads as you have other squads. So if you don't buy any squads and try to buy just infantry squads, you can't, as far as the base rules. For a game or scenario, you can do whatever you want to do, but just that prohibits a player from coming in and taking his 2,000 points and buying, 100 squads worth of infantry. But on the side of that is if you buy 2 regular squads, and you can add 2 infantry squads. I like that too, Tiger. The only reason I don't like it is because I think it makes the numbers too small. Now, I thought too of maybe, you can buy twice the number of infantry squads that you buy of other squads. And that way, if you buy 2 regular squads, you can buy up to 4 infantry squads. And I may do something like that just to, it's, again, I don't know that it's a rule that needs to be hard coded in, because it's really going to self-govern itself. Because if you're playing with a group, the only time that could really screw something up is if you had an open game at a store and you put out a flyer and said, hey, everybody show up next week with 2,000 points of threat value, and we're all going to have this big battle royal. All right, well, everybody shows up with their squad worth of CAVs and vehicles or whatnot, and then Bobby shows up with his 100 squads of infantry. And, at that point, I think half the people would just throw their hands up in there and walk away. So that's the only reason I'm even thinking about putting a rule in there, just to avoid. Because I don't want to tie it down. I don't want you to, if you've got, a big scenario that you're playing, and I realize that I have, I would do that, the 100 squads of infantry. Yeah, I would imagine that you and me would never play Gimli. I mean, it could be something, if everybody knew that's what was happening up front, it's not such a big deal. But, and if you're designing a scenario or a game, it's, I don't want to limit you. And that's what happens, unfortunately, in these days. If you put a rule in there, 9/10 of the people think, well, because it's in the rule, I can't do it. As opposed to, well, we've got a special game and we want this to happen. So, yeah. Well, that goes back into, and you're going to have that in every game you play. Like I said, you can have the fastest set of rules for combat that there is. You can do, everybody roll a d6 and the high number wins. Or rock, scissors, and paper. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So, you've got 10 seconds, 15 seconds worth of deciding whether there's a hit or not. Well, if you've got 30 models that you have to move and to fight, 15 seconds apiece, all of a sudden now you've got, 7 minutes, 8 minutes worth of movement in combat? So it's just nuts to put so much stuff out there that it just turns into nothing. Well, and that's another thing to take into consideration. I'm not worried about them doing too much damage, because with AOEs, you can very realistically take out a lot of infantry with one shot with AOEs. It's just a matter of somebody taking so many rounds of so many models, so many squads of infantry, and just turn the game into a slow motion death-a-thon. After a couple of turns, it probably wouldn't be a problem, but so I think that's what you'll see. Like I said, with the rules update, it streamlines a lot of things that we're already doing. It's just a way of presenting it and going about it. It for the most part incorporates all the errata, and a couple of, like I said, a couple things had to be changed because close combat's going away. Infantry still have the ability to do a close combat assault if they want to. Just trying to think some of the high points on there. There's a new weapon system, the high velocity cannons, the new SAs, Ultra, and high velocity or whatever. I forget what the other one ended up being called. Now I will say this: there was some talking and going back and forth, and I know that I showed something to James and it got put up on the Discord channel about Ultra. Ultra is only going to, Ravage will go away. Yes, Ravage will, that name will go into the annals of, to be used for something else down the road. It's going the way of Blitz and, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 others. There's going to be some, there's no more ablative armor, there's no reactive armor. Et cetera, et cetera. But all Ultra will do is allow you to combine 2 matched weapons into one. So the only NDF, there is no indirect fire GMs. Other than technically the mortars. Basically, that's what the infantry mortars are. And the way that everything's presented, as far as to come up with to hit numbers, is kind of going to be reversed, so that we're always coming at something one way. So, yeah, that went away early on. That was a screw up on my part. It shouldn't have been in the rule book, but it did. I just wasn't paying attention. What was I talking about? With Ultra, then you got me off on another tangent. So, like I said, Ultra will be, you'll basically, if you want to take 2 matched weapons, make it into one. It increases your RAV on both by 1, and the threat value cost of the weapon by 25 or 50. I have to look. I think it's 25. So you won't be able to take like 6 guns and combine them into one and get a +5. Oh, about numbers, yes. So going forward, negative numbers are actually good for you and positive numbers are bad. Because the way it's all going to be written is you're always going to be adjusting your target point. Target points become the primary role in the game. So you'll have your base target point and you either increase or decrease that number so that when you're ready to roll, you're just rolling against that number. You're not making any pluses or minuses to your dice. If you still want to do it that way, more power to you. It's just the way that we're presenting it going forward is your target point will increase and decrease and you always are rolling against your target point. So if you're shooting at short range and you have a base 6 and he's got heavy cover, it goes to base 8, but you've got Wizzo and target computer 1, it goes back to 6. So when you roll, you just know you're rolling against that 6. You're not trying to add or subtract to your dice, anything. And by doing it that way and the way it's set up going forward is it's always going to be that way. The only time it's not is when you are rolling an opposed roll, but it still flows with the way that is. And that's the way we do it too. When I go to a show and I run a game, that's when I always get everybody to their core number, rather than try to, all right, you're rolling against a 6. All right, you rolled an 8, but you have a +2, a ±1, and then try to come back and compare it. This way, you know what you're rolling against right off the bat. So you roll, and if you don't roll that number, then you're done. Range numbers are staying the same, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's other times that it can come up to, but an opposed roll is involved, right, with ECM. ECMs are the only thing that will be able to go to jam going forward. You won't be able to jam with APA. You will be able to keep from being jammed, but ECM kind of all that falls under one umbrella now. Everything falls into the enemy having to be inside that circle. So, for you to be able to get the APA to do the jam, to transfer EST, the enemy models have to be in your circle of activation for that to go. That way, you can't take a recon guy and sit on the back edge of the map and hide behind a hill. And if your force gets too far down the board, then you're just SOL. Command point changes. I don't think they've really changed. I think there's a little tweaking of one or two of them, or a clarification. But I don't think they really, other than the fact that an infantry squad won't give you a CP point anymore. Now, also take into account that the way that we're going towards the rules update this time is we've got some wiggle room. We're going to put the rules update out there, but it's going to be a PDF. It's going to be a living form that we'll be able to tweak as, if people don't understand it right or they need a better explanation. We'll be able to go in and tweak that a little bit with the premise that we will go through the summer with this, and towards the end of the summer, we're going to be ready, hopefully, to send the rules of engagement campaign book out to the printer, and the rules update will be included in that. And at that point, the rules are going to be hardwired. There is no more, there is no 10 plus rolls. Everything's just a straight target point. Now, target points for strike points are the same. The only difference is the way that we're presenting them. So in the past, your roll was a 10 plus, and you had to add, +1 for long and +2 for extreme, or whichever way it went. So instead of doing it that way, we're just giving you your strike number for that range. So the only difference is short is 9, medium is 10, the normal number you would need, and then long is 11, and 12 is extreme. So we've just basically taken that modifier and put it onto the base number. So you're not out, it's just less things off the chart you have to worry about. And we may, before we go to final layout here next week, we may put a copy out on Discord or something for some of the regulars to look at to kind of give it it's in a Word document form, so it's a little harder to read right now, but that might be something that we do. Maybe next week. Counter battery still gets an auto strike point. Yes. But there's, I don't have it here in front of me. There is, you can kind of counter that from if you do a run and gun. If I remember right, I think you get to finish your run and gun before he conducts the strike. I have to check. So you can choose to do a run and gun and avoid that with taking the penalties for run and gun unless you have assault or whatever. So it makes assault a little more important to avoid models with counter battery. And you want to be careful that you don't run and shoot right next to somebody that can't move. So they may not be very happy. You get a bunch of stuff dropped on you. Yeah, that's what we called it in the errata and everything like that. But it's all multiple versions of the same thing. So it just all kind of falls under the run and gun now. And the infantry still has its pluses. I mean, infantry, they never get a stationary modifier. They can't be stunned. They can't be suppressed. Well, no, I don't know if they can't be stunned or suppressed. But there's things infantry, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Well, I guess it could. With them only having 1 point of damage, if you hit them, you don't really have to worry about tracking anything else. Minimum ranges for the max increase. I think they're out. I think they increased to 6s or 8s, 6s or 8s. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But that's max are going to have a longer minimum range. Yeah, no more 1 inch minimums. No, they're going to have a longer minimum. They're getting, and there's going to be a little bit of damage. RAVs tweaked a little bit. I think that when it's all said and done, like MRACs are going to have the highest RAV in the game, hard. That's their SA, since they have no SAs as opposed to the other things. So I think we have to tweak those a little bit for that to fall into place. That's really the only things right off the top of me. Threat value is going to change a little bit because of the way, certainly infantry is going to go way down in points, basically a third of what they are now. Others will be just little points here and there, just because of a little change here or there, because some of the SAs are being dropped out or whatnot. All right, well, we're getting down to the last 4 minutes, so smoke 'em if you got 'em. If you got a question or you want me to go over something right quick, here's the 4-minute Zoom. But make sure, let me know whether on forums or Discord or wherever you send me an email, CAVBoss@talon-games.com. If you have some ideas, something you would like that you think other people would like to see at the virtual show, let me know. We're looking for new ideas. We have a lot more space, a lot more ability for this show, so we'd really like to take advantage of that. And always, if you're painting on anything, if you're working on anything, I know Tiger's been putting up his Mount Vernon forest that he's been working on. There's a lot of minis going out of here. Hopefully somebody's painting somewhere. We'd like to see what you're working on, what you're doing. We do have some new paints that'll be coming out. We're finishing up the Terran and the rock sets. So we're banging the drum on that to get those done. Next meeting. I don't know out of that 6 which ones are going to be the ones that are going to come out here first. We're working on all the molds. It's just a matter of what goes to mold the easiest and that we can get to. Well, we should have some kind of an indication, but here pretty soon. The older Adon green. Oh, the old one. We may bring that out as an amethryl color, since we've already done an Adon set. From the core set. I guess I'm not following you. Are we out of one? Is that what you're saying? Part of, we're waiting on restocks on any colors that we're out of as well. But we got the 2 sets that are left to finish are the rock and the Terrans. Then we're going to do an amethryl set, and there'll be a mercenary set, and then we'll be done. So that'll be 42 different colors in the CAV paint sets. And once we have those all out, we're gonna come back with a little boxed. They are not the same colors. They are different. They're not exactly like they were in the old ones. Because they're not, they're the heavier pigmented paints. Yeah, it's still called Terran khaki and rock colors, but if you try to put the 2 together, you will notice a difference. Those were the 2 colors we released at the last virtual show. We just have 10 more that we're supposed to release. So, all right, folks, it's 9 o'clock. We're calling it a night. So thank you so much for being here. We'll always look forward to talking to you guys. And hopefully we'll talk about some stuff during the week. You guys will show off some stuff. I don't know. Put out some scenario ideas, etc., etc., etc. And if not, I will see you next Wednesday night. So take care. Be careful. Peace.